Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stan, the radio man once again, and it's a Tuesday morning. And I've been thinking about what happened the past weekend, give it a little time, because all of that was significant in terms of what's going to happen for the rest of the week. Now, usually I don't make any calls to people, and I don't really do a lot of inquiring of people on Monday. That's something I've learned a long time in business is oftentimes people are getting a little bit of a slow start on Monday, and they have a lot of things that still are on their mind from the weekend, and now their emails have piled up, and they really have to get ready for the week. Now, those of us who try and do a Sunday night meeting may already be ready so that when we hit the whenever you start Monday, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, probably most of you are on it by 8 o'clock, but maybe 9 o'clock. It all depends on your work style and, of course, your workplace. But usually you have to reflect on what happened, and then you have to decide what you're going to do this week. So with a few of those thoughts in mind, I thought I'd put some things before us that might help us. It might infuriate you. It might aggravate you. However, it might be helpful to you. But please keep in mind, you're different, you're unique. And I oftentimes say, if two people agree on everything, then one of them may not be necessary. And how we go and how we grow is when we are good at self-expression, but we're even better at self-listening. That means we listen to ourselves and see if we're making sense, and then we are fully present to the other self. Yes, self-expression and self-listening, and I encourage you to think about that. Well, first of all, this will aggravate some. But of course, remember, this is meant to get your attention. Okay, what is true is that Donald Trump is still king. That's right. Millions of people, we're told, went to rallies all around this weekend called the No Kings Rally. And they were basically people who are opposed to Donald Trump, who is the president of the United States. Well, of course, there's a couple things those people need to consider, and so I'm simply going to say is, first of all, Trump is still king, and it's possible that those people who are opposed to him, or maybe are enemies of him, and there's a difference between being opposed and being an enemy, are taking what I call a nap. A nap. N-A-P. Let me go. Here we go. Okay. Donald Trump is still king. That's right. He is king not of the country, but he's the king of the ratings. Remember, this is a media-conscious performance world. And I didn't say Donald Trump was king of America. There is no king of America. And that's what he said. He's a president. He's not a king. But he is the king of the ratings. He has learned how, in all the things he does, that in terms of getting media time, getting time where he tells his story, where he shows up, where he can perform at his best, where he can reach millions of people, he is still king because he dominates the story and he dominates the media. And you can't go on to YouTube, you can't go on to podcasts, you can't go on to anything where Donald Trump is making an appearance in some way. And the problem is that when people oppose him, they are also helping his ratings, because that means the stories about him will continue. So he's king of the ratings. And that's exactly where he wants to be. And as someone has said, and this is true, ratings are good. If their ratings are about you because you're bad, the ratings still might be good. If the ratings are good, then they're really good if it's about you. That's how the power game works in this world. And as a result of that, by the way, Elvis Presley was called the King. Think about that. Do we like kings? Just think about that. Maybe there's something deep inside of us that kind of likes a king from time to time. We're told in the Hebrew Scriptures that part of the problem that God had is that, in effect, he had to deal with people who supposedly had a way of life, but they said they wanted a king. They want a king. And of course, that led to the stories of King Saul and eventually King David. And oftentimes the ancient Hebrews or the people of Israel of that time, they suffered because sometimes they had a bad king, but they were still the king. And of course, there still are kings around. The British kingship is the one we are most familiar with, but there are a lot of countries that are still connected to the sense of a king. But Americans have never had a king. In fact, they began by separating themselves from a kingship. And of course, many of the other countries of the British Empire who eventually separated themselves from Britain, became independent nations, still remained within the Commonwealth and giving a somewhat of allegiance to the king, or the last 70 years, the Queen of Great Britain. So think about that. My problem with the people there is nap. It was not accomplished performance. A not accomplished performance. It was a non-achievement performance. In effect, it may have made them feel better. It may have given them a means of self-expression, but nothing happened. Nothing changed. Donald Trump did not change anything that he was doing. He did not give away and become different. In fact, he, you might say, doubled down. At the same time, my wife reports that she, who was on a volunteer mission working for one of the local charity organizations, she was coming home and the traffic was terrible. Well, why was the traffic terrible on Saturday, a non-working day? Well, it was because it was the protest demonstration, the No Kings rally, in which there were a lot of people, both old and young, and a variety of them, who were screaming and yelling at her. And so she was not impressed. She did not change. So could it be that what might have happened is that it was a non-accomplished performance? It was a non-accomplished protest. It was a non-accomplished program. And as I often say, remember, whenever you're doing something that achieves nothing, if it takes 3 hours or 5 hours or 7 hours, you're 3 to 5 to 7 hours closer to being dead. Now, at my stage, that's kind of important. And nothing happened. Just let that sit on you for a while, because here is the program coming to a little bit of a leadership lesson. One of my mentors oftentimes said to me 2 words. Stan, that's a free one, so what? We should do this. So what? What will change? What will happen? What will be better? when I make a statement like I just did, you can simply come back to me and say, Stan, so what? Well, here hopefully is the so what. Always ask yourself that question. Now, when I put this program together, it's going to be about 12 minutes. I was hoping maybe about 15. Give me 15. Don't ever make it 20. I always make sure that my Twit Talks are less than the TED Talks. Remember, the TED Talks have to be no more than 20 minutes. That, in effect, there's something that I can learn or take away or perhaps share with others. Something there. So I would simply say to you is ask yourself the question, so what? I was thinking about doing a particular program on a subject that I thought would be helpful and useful. And it was because I had been treated kind of poorly by some people. And so I was going to talk about that. But then, so what? Does anyone care about that? Would that be helpful to anybody for me to spout off about my opinion or how something bad happened to me? So what? One of the marks of leadership is when you can say, I could do this, I could do that, I could do that. I could go at the protest, I could do this. Just simply say, so what? That will help you. I have found that many times when I have some intentions, if I just ask myself the so what question, it makes me rethink what I should do. So that's my little time for this Tuesday. Think about that. You're going to go flying into the week now. You're going to go full blast. This is going to be a busy week. And there are always things changing. Artificial intelligence is going to change things so fast and so much, and I'm not so sure so well for a lot of people, but it's going to change things a lot, and you better find out about it. Secondly, you need to be masters of self-expression. One of the new projects we have is called Do It Right. Not just do it, that's Nike. We're calling it Do It Right. And one of the symbols of this little performance company is a golden microphone. Why? Because in the new economy, the performance economy, which is what we are now in, the transformation zone performance economy, you are going to have to learn how to use the new media. You're going to have to learn how to express yourself, present an image of leadership. We're going to have to demonstrate power. You see, that's what Donald Trump understands. He understands power. And he knows how to get it. And he also knows that if you can keep money moving, that's power. And that's what the deal making is all about. The more you can keep money moving one way or the other, the more power you have. The art of the deal. Keep money moving. Keep people buying, keep people selling, keep people going out and doing things with their money. That's where the power is. Remember that. Just remember that. So there we go. Thank you for your time. I hope this has been helpful for you. But you're right. Please figure out who or what do you want to really have as the king of your life. Those of us of the Christian tradition oftentimes say it's King Jesus. Yeah, we use that word. He is a king, the king. And there are things that have what we call kingdom qualities. Those are things that help do good things for people. Please think about what we have in our life that is kind of the king. It motivates us, it moves us, it makes us do things. People or things. Remember that. Remember, so what? That's important. And then please keep in mind, don't spend a lot of time with naps. Now, taking a real nap is good for you, particularly as you get older. 15, 20 minutes at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's good for you. But don't involve yourself in non-achievement projects, non-achievement programs, non-achievement presents. Don't do it. Don't do that kind of naps. Thank you for your time. I hope this has been helpful. I can help you in business and life. I can get you on the radio. I can help you become a significant leader. I have 45 years of broadcasting experience and 35 years of business performance coaching, and I can help you achieve things that do accomplish and do achieve things. Because if I don't, you don't have to pay me. That's the deal. Everything has to work that way. Reach out to me, Stan at witradio.net. Stan at witradio. WIT radio.net. Because in effect, radio is once again becoming one of the ways that people will, in some way, rule the world and maybe be one of the kings of the world. And maybe that could be you. All the best. Blessings to you. Until next time, bye for now.